The last letter. The old house smelled of dust and forgotten memories. Sunlight slipped through the broken shutters, falling in patches on the wooden floor. Sara stood quietly in the middle of the room, clutching a box she had just found in the attic. It was small, carved with delicate patterns and locked with a rusted clasp. Her grandmother had passed away 2 weeks ago, leaving behind this house filled with secrets. For most of her childhood, Sara had only known her grandmother as a strict woman who rarely smiled and never spoke of the past. But now, standing in the silence of the empty house, Sara felt an ache she couldn't explain, a strange pull toward the life her grandmother had once lived. With trembling hands, she forced the box open. Inside lay a stack of yellowed letters tied with a faded ribbon. The handwriting on the envelopes was elegant, each one addressed simply to "My dearest Noor." Noor. That was her grandmother's name. Curious, Sara opened the first letter. "My Noor, if you are reading this, then the world has already kept us apart for too long. I never believed in destiny until it pulled you from my life. Do you remember that day by the river when the rain fell and you laughed like the sky itself was singing? That memory has carried me through every lonely night." Sara paused. Her grandmother had never spoken of love, never mentioned a man who had written to her like this. Page after page, the letters unfolded a story that Sara had never imagined. Her grandmother had once been deeply, passionately in love. The man's name was Ibrahim, a poet who had to leave the country during a time of political unrest. He promised to return, but his letters revealed a different truth. His journey was dangerous, and he feared he might never see Noor again. The letters grew heavier with each passing page. He wrote of battles, of losing friends, of nights under foreign skies when only her memory gave him strength. "My Noor, they call this a war for freedom, but to me it feels like a war against time itself. I fight every day not only for my country, but for the chance to walk beside you once more. If I do not return, promise me you will still laugh when the rain falls. Promise me you will live." Sara's eyes blurred with tears. She could almost see her grandmother, young and full of hope, waiting for letters that carried love across miles of silence. She could almost hear the quiet heartbreak that must have filled this very house when those letters stopped coming. At the bottom of the box lay one last envelope. Unlike the others, this one was unopened. Her grandmother had kept it sealed all these years. With a deep breath, she broke the fragile paper. "My Noor, if this letter finds you, then I have not. My body is weary, and my soul longs only for peace. I want you to know I loved you more than words can ever carry. Perhaps fate was unkind, but in another life, I know I would have held your hand until the end of time. Do not cry for me, Noor. Love is never wasted. Every heartbeat I gave to you was a gift I will never regret. Live fully, laugh loudly, and when the rain falls, close your eyes and feel me there." The paper slipped from her hand as her chest tightened. All her life, she had wondered why her grandmother never remarried, why she spent her days alone, speaking little of the past. Now she understood. Her grandmother had carried a love story inside her heart, a story too sacred to share, one that had lived quietly in the shadows until now. Sara walked to the window where rain had begun to fall. The sound was soft, steady, almost like a lullaby. She thought of Ibrahim's words, of the promise he asked Noor to keep. Maybe her grandmother had never been able to laugh in the rain again, but Sara could. She stepped outside, letting the rain touch her face. The world seemed different, as if the clouds themselves carried the memory of a love that had refused to die. She closed her eyes, and for a brief moment she felt it, the warmth of something eternal, something bigger than loss. Perhaps love never truly ends. It lingers in the air, in letters left behind, in the quiet spaces of a house that once held two souls dreaming forever. Sarah smiled through her tears. She would keep the promise her grandmother couldn't. She would live fully, love deeply, and when the rain fell, she would laugh. Not just for herself, but for Noor and Ibrahim, whose love story would now never be